Hello, I'm Scott Walls at Embarcadero Technologies. In this video, I'm going to show you how to register Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, and DB2 data sources from a single performance optimization tool. That tool being DB Optimizer XE. When first starting up DB Optimizer, you're presented with the welcome screen. Here, we can look at an overview of the DB Optimizer features, look at tutorials, and lastly go directly to the workbench. Here we're presented with the main screen of DB Optimizer, looking at our Data Source Explorer. To register an Oracle data source, simply right-click the Oracle node, New Data Source. This time we'll select Oracle, give it a name, we'll categorize it as a test data source, press Next. Here we can either use the contents of our TNS names file or use a direct connection method. Let's go ahead and refresh the contents of our TNS names file. Once populated, we'll drop this down, select the entry we'd like to use, provide our username and password, select our connection method, normal, sysdba, or sysopera. Auto-connect, which saves our username and encrypts our password. We can allow trusted connections. Lastly, we will test the connection. The connection was indeed tested successfully. We'll press OK and finish, and our data source is now created for Oracle. To create a SQL Server, follow the similar steps. Data source, we're presented with that opening dialog, New SQL Server. The category here, we'll drop this down and select QA, press Next. We can do our server alias again, or we can use a direct connection. We'll select direct connection on this entry, and we will type in our host and instance name. Select the port appropriate. Our username will just be SA. We'll test the connection. Again, it was tested successfully. OK, and finish, and we'll see we have a new QA data source. For Sybase, very similar. Right-click Data Source, New. We'll select Sybase here. We will generate a unique name based on the alias. Categorize this as a production data source. Press Next. We can use the input of our SQL ini file. Press Refresh. Drop this down. Scroll down, select my instance that I'd like, and put the parameters, press Test Connection. Again, tested successfully, press Finish. To add a DB2, let's take a look at how we can add a new group. Right-click, New Data Source Group. We'll name this simply DB2 UDB. Press OK. And in this node, right-click again, New Data Source. Here we'll select DB2, again generated based on the name. Will be no category on this. Press Next. We'll use the information from the IBM client. Here we have our sample DB2. We'll input the parameters. Test connection. The connection was tested successfully. Press Finish. We have our DB2 data source. So there you have it, how to register a data source using DB Optimizer XE.